Hey! Talking earlier about Cal not going for carriers much. Gonna go for him now. Only off 2 Stargates. And so far only on 3 bases, one of which is not really mining. Only 2 gas. So really he's going to have to be very careful with these carriers. Doesn't seem like he's going to go full on carriers. Just kind of have him as an auxiliary force. So we're going to see exactly what he decides to go for. I haven't seen any Citadel from him. At least not that I spotted. So really interesting, this follow-up of his. Really interesting what exactly he's going to go for, trying to win this with carriers. I mean, if these don't get spotted right away, sure, this might be a decent strategy. Going to be able to a few carriers out there. Just make sure you get, 4. And you get a bunch of interceptors on them before you actually reveal them and go out with them, because otherwise you're just going to be in a lot of trouble. Adding an additional sign now so you can just kind of continue working on it. If you're looking at the lower end position, really just getting himself very high. He has 70 extra psi to work with. So he's just going to be starting to pump troops like crazy. Very Dragoon heavy at the moment, very reminiscent of Stork. And he's going to get kind of pushed into 6 o'clock, very Goon heavy. And with these tanks in the back, it's going to be a little bit of trouble. These vultures at the front going to have to be very careful. Try to take down vultures. Going to come in right now on this high ground. Tanks going to push in right behind them. No zealots at the front. Vultures just having free reign to getting a bunch of shots off on these goons. Goons going to be pushed all the way back. And I think the 6 o'clock position now compromised. Gujila is in trouble. Yeah, just all the villains are in the house. Probe's going to get pulled off the line. Someone going to get taken down by vultures as they flee towards their homes. Flee towards their homes. Flee. And I think at this point, really, Fantasy has taken a decent foothold. Oh, man, Goliath's way ahead of the carriers. So, yeah, 2 carriers out there now for Cal, and he's not producing additional ones. So it really does look like he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Trying to micro a Reaver in the shuttle there, but one Reaver is not going to save him from this entire army. The 6 o'clock position going to go down, and he's looking like he's in a lot of trouble trying to move in here with his Zealots and Dragoons. Knows he has to do something, but just not in a very good position. Getting a decent one Zealot bomb off there. Carrier's going to come into play at this point. Not quite sure whether the Goliaths are there, though, so they might even manage to save this. These interceptors are going to be doing a little bit of something, but I really don't think they're going to be able to do too much damage. Fantasy really looks like he's taking a strong foothold in his matchup. 9 o'clock position there at this point. Gonna be able to get up. Fantasy gonna put that down for himself. Dragoons pushing out some support. Only Goliath here on Vulture at this point. Carrier's also coming into attack, but Fantasy's entire army just gonna come from that south position to save this, and I just don't think Cal really has much of anything to do this. So I think really this matchup is kind of looking pretty bad for Cal overall. So I can just go and make more penis jokes, except I'm not really feeling like it anymore. I don't know why. Feeling so incompetent. But yeah, Fantasy just playing very good standard TP. Now gonna lock all those Dragoons in. Dragoons picking off a lot of ACVs, but they're just gonna get boxed in and killed, squashed like I don't know, squashed like an avocado with a gigantic mallet wielded by an angry man named Boba Fett. And not the Boba Fett from Star Wars, just a dude named Boba Fett, and a lot of people pestered him about it. And he was like, my name's Boba Fett, but nothing to do with the movies. Don't know why nobody will leave me alone. Cal finally going to expand again, going to try to take a 3rd base yet again, that mineral only at inside 3 o'clock position. But really, his carriers, very low interceptors, 2 carriers, not really doing much of anything for him. I think standard play would have been a better idea. Maybe try to get some nice stasises off. A stasis there at the 6 o'clock position really would have, a stasis or 2 really would have saved him, I think. At least delayed. He would have been able to hold that 6 o'clock base. And maybe then as you hold off and try to just hold Fantasy back, maybe go for a big recall and hope that, that one big recall brings you back into the game. But decide to go for a carrier gambit. And sometimes it just seems like these days going for carriers seems like to just not pay off unless your name is Stork. And because really I don't think anybody has carrier micro like Stork in the game. I think Stork's carrier micro is just something truly a sight to behold. There you see, Nuke. I'm actually saying good things about Stork. Should be happy. Should be moaning inside of his mind. That's what he does whenever he looks at Stork. He's like, Storkalicious yumminess. I know this. I have inside information. I know exactly what turns Nuke on, and it disturbs me. Cal, meanwhile, doesn't have his inside 9 o'clock up, 3 o'clock, I'm sorry, so he's going to try to pick up the 6 o'clock yet again. Fantasy way on top of this, moving in close with his Vulture, planting down mines, being annoying, surrounding these Dragoons, just making them retreat, and his entire army is following this up. So at this point, really nothing but goons out there. And goon-wise, again, going for very, very heavy, almost goon-only army is, again, something pretty much only Stork can pull off these days. Because not going for Citadel, not going for Zealot speed, not going for Arbiters, just standard versus more standard, I guess you would say, versus Terran play just seems to not work out as well. Carriers are a significant risk because if they get spotted, a Terran player can really prepare himself in time. Just get a lot of work on his upgrades, get his Goliaths out there, get some upgrades for him, just pump out a bunch of Goliaths. So, to the point that he's going to have over a control group of Goliaths when you have 4 carriers out there that aren't even full on interceptors yet. So, really troublesome and a pain in the ass. And despite those weapons to air upgrades on those carriers, he's just not managed to do the damage. As you can see, they're just kind of going down and dying instead. All the interceptors go down. And Cal, yeah, just trying to push across here towards the north side. But Fantasy has this entire thing boxed in. Has his force, which is immobile, but he's still kind of just brushing him around. Hey, move here and move there. And he has such a huge army at this point that he can just kind of keep him in groups. He also seems like he's expanding to the upper right-hand position. And even though Cal, yet again, tried to pick up a third base, at this point he's so far behind. Oh, man, yeah, that doesn't add anything. I need some booze. I'm not at that point. You know, when you commentate StarCraft, you really need, in my opinion, you need 3 things to keep you going when it's, you know, when it's past, you know, basically when it's no longer daylight outside. You need a nice, good mixture of caffeine, sugar, and booze to keep you going, and don't have that right now. But hey, I'm still excited for this weird popcorn matchup when I don't actually have popcorn. Could have made popcorn. Instead, I'm gonna go and make some, make me a baguette. Not just any baguette. Make myself a garlic baguette, garlic-filled baguette. It's gonna be awesome. Now we see all those interceptors go down to the lovely Charon booster fire. And the carriage is flying around uselessly as Cal yet again loses his third base. Pretty much, yeah, not pretty much, just completely mined out at this point. Has absolutely no mineral intake. And, yeah, look at those probes kind of like sitting there going, I'm so confused, what the hell's going on? And into probe language, that's translated as something like that. So yes, for those of you people that are immensely confusing, why is this strange man from another channel coming onto Nuke Challenge, confusing us all, and casting this horrible, horrible game and this horrible, horrible, funny voices we do not understand? Why, Nuke? Why have you deceived us? Why have you done this to us? It's because Nuke's a bastard. He is a bastard, and he hates you all. Remember that. So yeah, it's pretty obvious, I think, at this point that Fantasy has this game, and Cal is, of course, just being who Cal is. He's a man with testicles the size of a building, and he will not GG until they have been chopped off forcefully with a machete that's the size of a planet. And that's still, seeing as that still hasn't been done, well, actually gets done right there, so he does GG. 0-3 in the group, definitely a disappointment for him, and unfortunate. Both these guys outs, you know, he says winner there, but honestly, Fantasy just, you know, kind of gets to go home and like, well, maybe I can focus on that other gay Star League that I have to play in. At least I get to sign an autograph. Cal gets to go home and doesn't sign a single autograph. Instead, he gets to go and measure yet again how tall he is and feel just a little bit superior because he's kind of tall. But anyway, I have enjoyed for like pretty much the first time ever, I think. Yeah, pretty much the first time ever I have solo cast an OSL game, so it's kind of new thing for me. Kind of in the middle of everything, but hey, whatever. Been fun. Not likely that I'll ever do this again. I'm not that mean. It's Nuke that's the bastard here. Please remember that. So, whatever. GG, guys. Ranshin out. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed. And please don't hate Nuke too much for being the evil, evil, evil human being that he is. It's just his nature. He can't control it. He was injected with some evil things when he was a child that affected his mind, and through his bloodstream, instead of blood, there's nothing but blackness and darkness, and he doesn't have a soul. Instead, he's just hollow inside, and he can't help it himself. It's just the way he is. It's just the way he was. It's just the way he happened to become. So what are you gonna do? So yeah, once again, later, guys.